All right, hi you guys. So I chose social stories, um, for my topic of our resources, and I just talked about how social stories are a resource that benefits both student and parent. Um, and this is kind of organized. What's tough is that the brochure isn't being shown in like the way that's going to be presented when it's folded, which is kind of frustrating. So this, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but the one to the farthest to the right is like my opening cover page. So I'll flip to that. And then when you open it up, this is what the inside will look like. Um, and so I said social stories are an effective tool for students within special education. I said that a social story relies on a narrative in order to demonstrate certain, often daily situations and or problems and how to properly take them on. They're used by families with special education in order to ensure a common ground between student, parent, and teacher and how to communicate appropriately. They help children understand more clearly how to relate to others and their life situations. And so, um, I think just like the benefit of this and the benefit that a lot of research has shown is it allows for students to have perspective, which is really difficult. I think a lot of times for students, especially with autism, and students within the special education world. And so, what do social stories help with? They help with teaching social norms. Basically, what's to be expected when you're in school, or what's to be expected when you're walking down the street, or visiting a friend's house. Um, they improve social skills. So with that, how to interact, how to help these students be the best that they can be socially. Because I know a lot of times it can be tough for our little guys. Learning how to empathize. So it's being able to take the perspective on of others, which is really hard. Because a lot of times you can be stuck in your own world. That's for both us and for kiddos within special education. So it allows for you to kind of see a different perspective and the emotions that someone might be feeling through visuals. And then it reduces anxiety. I think it allows for kiddos to know how to go about certain situations. They remember the story that they were taught. Ah! So I flipped the screen. So let's go back to the brochure. So you open it up, the front cover, and then this is like the inside front cover, if that makes sense. So some general tips for social stories is to base the main character features off the features of a child the story is for. So let's say that you have a kiddo who is of Hispanic culture, of Hispanic descent, Hispanic heritage, that you have a kiddo on there that kind of looks like them. A kiddo that isn't just your stereotypical average white student. Maybe that the kiddo has really, really curly hair. That the picture that's being represented shows a kid with curly hair, just so that they can relate to it as much as possible. Associate your stories with positive behaviors, creating a comforting and patient tone. So a lot of times in those stories, you want to avoid the word "don't" or "no." Instead of like "don't hit," it's I use gentle hands. Um, or "Don't yell, I use a quiet voice," kind of the difference in tone with that. A third tip is to account for a calm, relaxed mood, when reading and telling the story, so that's for the child, so you don't obviously wanna in order to teach regulation, you need the child to be regulated, and that's the same with in order to teach, just in general, the child needs to be in a regulated state. So just ensuring that they're in a good state when they read it to allow for the most receptive mind. And then again, to ask the child to tell their own story. So sometimes you can sit down and say, what do you want your social story to be about? Who do you want to be your friend that's in it? Or what should you say when your friend hits you? Like, what do you think it should be your person's response within the story? So allow them to help you create it, which makes it more applicable for them. Um, and so I took a screenshot of, and then now we're back to this middle one. So if we fold the template, this is the very back. So here's a great example of a social story. And I wish I could show like a bunch of like pieces of it because sometimes it can just be a book and sometimes it can just be a little clip. Um, but for this one, it's sometimes I don't know the answer, and this is okay. When I don't know the answer, I say, I don't know. And so just giving the kids responses for certain social events. And so this situation would be a little girl with, let's say, black hair, and maybe her best friend is always playing baseball and wears baseball caps. So it's made the most applicable as possible. It's used in a calm tone. Um, and yeah. So that is